The Boscoscuro bikes have been closely matched all the way through this season so far, and with just 15 thousandths of a second separating Alonso Lopez and Fermin Aldeguer in the qualifying sessions, we should be set for a great scrap once again in Moto 2 European Championship action. Steve English and Kiko Giles bringing 19 laps here in Valencia. Kiko, the Moto 2 European Championship, it's changed this year. It seems very different to what we've had in the past few years.
It's not the domination we've come to expect, and it is more of a battle, and it's a good battle as well. It's great. In Estoril, we saw both races go down to the final corner, to the final run to the line. You know, it was a fantastic battle. Whether or not we'll see the same here, Valencia, funnily enough, stark contrast to Estoril. Not too dissimilar, but by no means identical, and I think that'll show here. I think Alonso, Lopez and Aldeguer, they have definitely got the pace. That is unquestionable. They have got the pace over the rest of the field.
For Alonso Lopez on pole position, and he makes a decent start, but Fermin Aldeguer with a very good start. Looks like he's going to be able to take the whole shot. You can see the number 3 of Lucas Tulovic trying to make sure he's able to get down the inside as well. Alonso Lopez with a bad start as they shift through the gears down in towards turn 1. Tulovic able to take that second position. Is everyone going to be able to make it cleanly through this first corner? A few of the stock 600 riders run
cleanly, Steve. That's a great start from Aldeguer, though, from the middle of the front row. He got that thing rolling. Coming through, it's Tiger harder. The number 23 pushes back Tulovic one place and through on the inside. Yes, through goes Lopez. So Lopez, did he get that place back? Yes, he did. So the number 21 started on pole. It took him 5 corners to get back to the front. Look at Harder. How big of a lunge was that? My goodness me.
Race. We know Tiger Had is always fast off the line, always fast in the opening couple of laps. Now he needs to settle himself in, make sure he's able to battle with the Boscoscuro bikes. He raced last week in Jerez in Moto 2 World Championship action. Back in action this weekend in the Moto 2 European Championship. Looks like he's got his tail up. Looks like he's got a bit of confidence. And you can see there for Fermin Aldeguer running a little bit wide through the right-hander. That's going to open
half a second, I reckon that is already. Good start from Alex Toledo as well. No jump start just come up on our monitor. That's good stuff. Good news for everyone. But Alex Toledo is up in about 7th place. There he is, just behind Dimas Ekky. Everyone through the final corner. We've got a race on our hands here. Can Lopez keep on pulling away, or is Aldeguer going to find some answers? This time it's the other way around in comparison to race 2 at Estoril. Last time
it is a case of you can break away on a Moto 2 bike around here, and you can see with Alonso Lopez on the 21, he slides into turn 2. He's trying to push hard to open a gap over Fermin Aldeguer. He wants to make sure he asserts himself over his teammate. For Aldeguer on the 54, he's now been able just to open up a little bit of breathing room between himself and Tiger Hada, but it is a case of he needs to be mistake free, Kiko. He's run wide a few times.
He has run wide a few times, and actually has come Alex Toledo, that is, and I think coming back on him, that could be Kubo, and I think it is Kubo. Didn't quite get him that time, but don't know if Tulovic has got a problem. Well, he has got a problem. He's going backwards, and he's got no answer for it at the moment.
Yeah, and you can see at the front of the field, Lopez has stretched out that lead a little bit more. Tiger had it there in the 23, under attack now from Adam Norridin. You mentioned Norridin in the build-up, Kiko. It looks like he's been able to build on that confidence of his front. You can see here with Tiger Hada, though, needs to keep himself settled. Fermin Aldeguer's made a few mistakes. You can see his teammate Alonso Lopez out in front, trying to push as hard as possible to open up a little bit of a margin over everyone else. But whenever you're riding like this, like Lopez is, it's very easy to push the front a little bit too much in the early laps of Moto 2.
Off track at the background. I was one of the stock 600 runners. Is Norridin going to have a look on Tiger Harder? No, Harder on the brakes is very, very good. I must admit, it's one of his key characteristics. Is Tiger Harder on the brakes is a bit of a weapon to say. But Lopez, yeah, he's doing a good job here so far. He's just about got a second. It's 0.9 at the moment between him and Aldeguer. 2 back right where Tiger Harder didn't want to see it, and up into 3rd place, Steve.
Yeah, good move by Adam Norridin to get down the inside there through the 2nd gear, right-hander. Now for Norridin, he needs to make sure that he's able to close up on the back of Aldeguer. In these early stages of the race, this is when you can start to see the group start to develop in Moto 2. That's why you've got to be aggressive. We saw Alex Toledo on the 55 aggressive on the earlier laps, getting a little bit of spits of rain out there as well. Maybe that's causing a little bit of an issue for some of them. Haven't really seen too many for us in our commentary box position, but very easy for it to just come up out of nowhere here in Valencia this weekend. That's what happened this morning, but certainly as it is right now, these riders just trying to find whatever grip they can.
This is lasted off, but look at Tulovic, just a little bit cautious on the brakes, but let it roll down into turn 1, and everyone just comes steaming through. Harder made a good start. That's getting tight down there, though, amongst the stock 600 runners. This is through turn 3 and 4 as they all come filtering through. Look at that lovely colour all around.
It's interesting with Tulovic. Lost a lot of positions in the opening 3 laps of the race. He's down in about 8th or 9th position, and actually running a lot off the pace as well at this stage. He's running about 1.5 seconds slower than his teammate for the last couple of laps. Last time round, actually 1 second slower than Adam Norridin, who's the fastest rider out there as well right now. Norridin on the number 7, trying to close down the Boscoscuro bikes. Didn't really expect to see this, Kiko, on the basis of what we saw in the pre-practice session. It is going to be a challenge for Norridin.
It's going to be a challenge, but you know, Norridin has got great experience. He's got more experience in Moto 3 Grand Prix than the 2 guys ahead of him. Obviously, Aldeguer's not there yet, but especially over Alonso Lopez. So I just wonder if if Norridin has kind of found a great operating window for that bike, and he's just making it turn Bosco Scuros. Just on our timing screen, Federico Minozzi has got a long lap penalty. He's right at the back of the field, though, so that won't trouble the front runners.
Yeah, it's a penalty from the qualifying session for riding slowly during the session, so a long lap penalty for him. And now for the riders at the front of the field, you can see here with Lopez still continuing to lead. His pace is very, because it really is a case of trying to put that pressure onto Fermin Aldeguer in second spot. And once again, Norridin was the fastest rider in that lead group, but again, only by a few hundredths of a second. It's settling itself down, Kiko.
Interestingly, both Aldeguer and Norridin were faster that time around. Norridin a 36.93 and a 36.98 for Aldeguer. It was only a 37.2 for race leader Alonso Lopez. So Lopez is not a scale. He was going to have a big sniff down the inside. Couldn't quite get it done on Kem Kubo. Back at the front, Lopez looks like he's riding that bike. He almost looks like he's overriding. He's really pushing on very, very early. You've got 15 laps to go yet. There is no need to be worried about that. Now, all you're going to do is you're going to wear your tyres down, and you don't want to do that round here.
Yeah, well, you can see there the heat haze now, so any thoughts of those few spots of range should be gone for these riders now. Mistakes as well. He needs to settle down, have a mistake-free race, and see what happens. Fermin Aldeguer just with a quick look over his shoulder.
Yeah, the thing for Lopez is he's got to iron out these small things that are just plaguing him and right in the wrong points of the race. He got beaten up a little bit by his teammate last time out. We got a red flag. We have got a red flag. I don't know what's exactly happened there. Hopefully it's a flag. So this race will be it'll be brought back into pit lane. They'll restart it. It won't be two-part or anything like that. It won't be aggregate like we used to have back in the olden days. It will just be a clean
grid positions as well. We'll just have to wait and see what the story is with that one. Race Direction make their notification, but big instant there for the Stock 600 rider in the field, and you can see a lot of the riders now making their way back into pit lane. We did see that the race leaders were actually already past the pit entry, so they're going to finish off their lap probably. Lesson from what you saw in the initial start of the race, and then try and make some progress from it. For Alonso Lopez, from the pole position, he's been able to lead these opening couple of laps, but now he needs to make sure that he's able to do the same job again in
the ambulance. The red flag still being waved in pit lane. Obviously pit lane is now closed, and all the riders will come in and go to their boxes and just sit down, contemplate themselves, gather their thoughts, and then hopefully get ready.
What he can improve on. You can see for Orges there able to get himself into the back of the ambulance, the marshals and the medical staff able to treat him immediately at the scene of that instant, and hopefully Leon will be okay after that crash. But for all the racing in the Endurance Championship that raced at Estoril, they said that it was quite interesting to see how long it takes for people to adapt to that track. Yeah. Very different challenge. And here in Valencia, everyone knows roughly what it's going to be. Everyone knows what to expect. You don't have to think about it quite as much. And for Al to make sure that you keep an eye on all the way through the season. Very different challenge for him compared to his teammate, but he's got to make sure that he answers the call.
He has, and he has got to make sure that they can get away as well. You know, you don't want to be getting away with Norridin, because Norridin is the outsider here. We're not expecting Norridin to challenge for the title week in, week out. At the moment, the Bosco Scuros just seem to have the edge.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Norridin's able to do it week in, week out throughout the course of an 11-race season, whereas we know that the Bosco Scuro bike worked everywhere last year, the year before as well, very competitive. So we know that they're going to be quite... The only way he's going to do that is by building on what he did in Estoril whenever he had a podium in the opening race of the year, fourth in the second race. You know, if he's able to come away with another podium here, he makes people stand up and take notice of him, and that's exactly what you've got to do. But a 9-lap shootout is a very different battle. This is where, in the Moto 2 class, this is where we're going to receive much...
He's led races before, so both of them riders are definitely ones to keep an eye on. I'm not expecting much more from anyone else from really behind row 2. Tulovic will come through, I'm fairly sure of that. But then again, he dropped quite quickly, so I'm not sure if there was a bike problem. The weather conditions are, as you can see, lovely. It's partly cloudy, it's 25 degrees air temp and 33 track temperature, no wind more or less. It's a lovely day down here in Valencia. For Moto 2, the FIM CEV Repsol Championship, it is round 2 of the championship. We have got many more rounds to come to you. And Steve, this...
He's always fast off the line. He can try and put a lot of pressure on the riders in front of him. He'll certainly feel that he's got a chance of being able to pick up his first podium in the European Championship. For Fermin Aldeguer, we see there in the 54, there's a lot of pressure on him now as well, Kiko. Double winner last time out, didn't quite have the pace in the initial...
You know, Norridin got a very good start last time out, and now he's on the front row there. He's on the inside as well, so if he can get a good hole shot, get a good launch, Norridin could be a spoiler by the time they even get to turn 1. But let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, keep an eye on Lucas Tulovic from the third row of the grid on the number 3 mission from Fermin Aldeguer. We wait for the 9 laps to start. And Lopez from the pole has made a decent start. Norridon with a good start. Taiga Hada once again on the 23 with a very good start. Hada trying to just weave his way down the inside in towards turn 1. Is he going to be brave to try and take that race lead? He's not quite able to do that. Slots it the inside into turn 2. He doesn't want to let his teammate Alonso Lopez get out of sight. He's going to make sure that he's up into that second position.
Yeah, good start from Taiga Hada. We said this would favour him, and it does. Will Aldeguer go for the lead? No, because he's about to be shuffled back. Through comes Taiga Hada, the 23 there. And so did Norridon. The number 7 of Adam Norridon got ahead of Patama, I think. So the Southeast Asians are absolutely having a field day at the front here. But running at the front, but he's got to shake off Taiga Hada. We know Taiga Hada is electric in the first stages of a race.
Yeah, Taiga Hada on the 23 trying to make sure that he's in a position to keep Alonso Lopez very honest in the early stage of this race. Ken Kubo made a good start. He's up there in about 5th position now, having gotten through on Ekky Pertama. That's a crasher for one of the stock 600. But for the rest of the field now, they're just trying to make sure that with this 9-lap race that they're in a position to be able to attack all the way through. Alonso Lopez, this is a godsend for him as well, though, Kiko. He's out in front, and his main championship ride at the running him on the exit. Not quite able to do that, but in this early stage of the race, Alonso Lopez doing exactly what he has to do. That's Taiga Hada in 3rd spot. Adam Norridon, podium man in Estoril, going to try and attack to take 3rd position here from Taiga Hada. Not quite able to do that. Action-packed opening lap, Kiko.
Yeah, very good opening lap. Taiga Hada sitting pretty in 3rd there. It was the number 40. He's just going to tuck the front. Ooh, he tucked the front very early on. That bike is skittering through the gravel. Luckily, though, he's okay. Stumbles on his feet. But back to the front, please, if we can. Alonso Lopez was leading last time around. Is he going to be leading when we switch back?
Down at turn 8 there for Orgis, and it's still Alonso Lopez. Kubo there on the number 9 machine. Very aggressive rider, Kubo, and trying to make sure that he's able to come away with another top 5 finish. That's the kind of target for the number 9 machine all the way through this season. You can see at the front of the field, though, Fermin Aldeguer, very different rider in this shorter race compared to what we saw in the early stages of the initial race. He's put the pressure on straight away here on his teammate Alonso Lopez. Further down the field, that's Taiga Hada in 4th position, top 6 on that number 3 machine. Needs to pick off those riders in front of him and come away with decent points paying positions, because once again we're seeing the Boscoscuro bikes out in front.
We are, and contrasting lines there, Steve, through the 12-13 flip-flop. Lopez runs it in very, very fast in turn 12, and he's almost off the track as he comes into turn 13. And it's much faster right now. He's going to go through. So the number 54, Fermin Aldeguer, he is not wasting any time this time around. The number 54, he's won 2 races already this season. He's just set the fastest lap as well, and now he's in the lead. So will he be able to break Alonso Lopez? Will he be able to break Lopez's spirit? He has been fastest all weekend, really, Alonso Lopez. And now he's the one doing the chasing. And Norridon is still there in 3rd.
Yeah, and as for Fermin Aldeguer, now he needs to make sure that he's able to answer straight back. But Aldeguer in this lap, able to stretch out a couple of bike lengths straight away on that number 54 machine. We know how strong he can be whenever the bike's working well. Maybe a few changes there just for himself back in the pit box have made all the difference for him. Adam Norridon doing a good job here to go with the race leaders at the early stages, and that's why he's been able to early stages in the race try and be defensive. Kubo's going to try and get a run on him, and certainly as it is right now, Kubo looks like he's got a little bit more speed than Taiga Hada at this stage.
Yeah, I'd love to see a fight with them, so I'd definitely be buying a ticket between that Hada and Kubo. They're some of the most aggressive riders in this field, but as you can see, it's only for 4. The front 3 have broken away, Steve.
Yeah, the front 3 breaking away. You can see Chulovic here on the number 3 machine trying to get his way back into this group as well. Kem Kubo there on the 9 just in front of Chulovic. Chulovic needs to pick these riders off quickly. We're already at 1/3 distance here, and out in front it is still a case of those leading riders all breaking away.
The guy's got the hammer down, Steve. 36.5 last time around. That's the fastest lap of the race. 37.2 for Alonso Lopez, and then in 3rd place,
Kubo trying to go down the inside, not quite close enough there on Taiga Hada, but he's getting impatient now as well, Kiko. Yep. He knows that it's Chulovic behind them as well, so he's got to try and make this
quick in the early stages, but after 2 or 3 laps he's just not got the pace to continue forward. Kubo, much more stable rider in terms of outright pace as they come into turn 8 now. Very, very tightly squeezed between these 4 battling for 4th place. Out front though, the gap is around 0.6 of a second, and I've got to say, it's not looking...
Kubo trying to make those moves. At the front though, you can see that it is starting to just stretch out. Aldeguer doing everything he can at this stage just to try and break the spirits of his teammate, but Adam Norridon doing a really good job in 3rd position on bike number 7 just to keep those Boscoscuro bikes inside at this stage. This is what we've seen time and again in the past, where the Boscoscuro bikes are under pressure in the early stages. Taiga Hada, he needs to make this move quickly, because otherwise he's going to be under a lot of pressure from Chulovic into turn 1, though Taiga Hada strong on the brakes into turn 1, able to carry that speed. For Kem Kubo, he's going to just have to try and make the move, just send it down the inside, maybe down in towards turn 2. He's able to do that. He's got to try and get down into the left-hander, able to make the move.
It's harder, it's so strong on the brakes. He's going to try and fight back. He had a bit of a look, but not at turn 4.
At the front of the field, we're seeing now Fermin Aldeguer really start to get his head down. He's opened up 0.8 of a second over Alonso Lopez. If you're Alonso Lopez, you set the pole time, you've set the pace all the way through this weekend. There wasn't much to choose between them, but But right now for Alonso Lopez, he's running tougher for Alonso Lopez.
Yeah, it's just not what he wants.
Oh!
No!
We got a crash. It looks like it could be Kem Kubo that's gone down at turn 8.
Oh.
And for Kubo, that's going to be so disappointing. Trying to make sure he was able to come away with another top 5 finish. Very easy to have that crash and then run into turn 8. Very easy for the rider, the Thai rider. He's been a constant top 5, top 6 runner. Still trying to make sure he's able to make that next step. And in this case, Kiko just pushed a little bit too hard.
You rarely see Kubo make too many mistakes like that as well. He's normally, I mean, he's not a neat and tidy rider, but he doesn't crash so often. Easy for the front end to wash out. 1.3 between the top 2 though, Steve. That's Tulovic. Oh, dear me. He almost rode pillion there with Tiger Harder into turn 1.
So easy to do that into turn 1 as well.
Oh.
You try and carry the speed through there. It's 100 miles an hour for these Moto 2 bikes, give or take, and very easy just to be a little bit too fast in there, a bit too committed. And that's also what then costs Tulovic into the neck, into the right place. It's only a matter of time though until Tulovic on that number 3 machine moves himself up into 4th position. But as it stands right now, with 3.5 laps to go, the gap between Adam Norridon in 3rd position and Taiga Hada has opened up to around about 3 seconds. So even for Tulovic, if he's able to make the move in Taiga Hada, unlikely he's going to make too much more progress than leave Valencia with some decent points. Out in front though, Fermin Aldeguer looking to leave here with another 25 points. And for Aldeguer, Kiko, this is really impressive. He's got his head down, consistent pace. He's opening up that gap. It's a 2.5 seconds now to Alonso Lopez.
It's looking like it's going to be 3 wins from 3 for Aldeguer. I hope I haven't cursed him, but 4 around Valencia. And hopefully it's a sign of what is to come. And he's not dropped off the back of Lopez, the same as Lopez has dropped off the back of Aldeguer. There's only half a second between them.
Yeah, when you look at the pace right now, Norridon round about a half a second slower than the race leader, but certainly just giving himself a chance. Last time out in the straight, he's lost a couple of spots. He's going to be down into 6th position now, trying to see if he can answer back to Pertama in front of him. But for Taiga Hada, he's lost that progress over the last couple of laps anyway, Kiko. Now down to 6th position.
It looks like he's got... Is he missing a gear or something? He looks like...
The shifter, and certainly some sort of an issue there for Taiga Hada. He's going to just have to try and get through the rest of this race. There's only 2.5 laps left for the Moto 2 riders. If he's able to come away with some points in this race, then it's not too bad. He's not going to be able to... That bike's just said enough at his bike for any sort of mechanical issue. But unfortunate there for Taiga Hada. Out in front though, still Aldeguer from Lopez, Adam Norridon, Tulovic now up into that 4th position, but he's not going to make any more progress than that. Out in front though, 2 laps to go when they come across the line next time around, Kiko. Progress he made from the initial start.
Yeah, he wasn't looking like this in the first start, and it's just going to be so demoralising for Alonso Lopez. I mean, he's second again to his teammate, and to his teammate who's younger than him, who's only 16, he's never been on a Moto 2 bike before. He knows the tracks, he knows the championship. Aldeguer really is something a bit special. Adam Norridon still chasing down Lopez. It's just under a second. It's hovering just under a second. I can't imagine that things are going to change too much between them unless Lopez just gets a bit complacent, but we haven't seen that so far either.
Yeah, the gap now 2.5 seconds for Lopez to make up to Al's final lap. But for Norridon, I'd say he's going to be pretty happy to settle for another podium. 2nd podium in a row for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff from Norridon. It'd be his first back-to-back podiums. Well, not back-to-back podiums, but 2 podiums out of 3 is not bad. But a good shout out here for Alex Toledo, so then breaking into the top 10 further down the order. Yeah,
and certainly for the likes of Toledo, he was the rider that was taking the fight in the Stock 600 class to Fermin Aldeguer last year, and they had a real battle all the way through the season, so we know he's got talent, but now trying to make that next step. This is Lucas Tulovic, and he's been able to... When you're looking at Fermin Aldeguer picking up 75 points potentially from these opening 3 races of the year, it's an absolute mountain to climb now for Lucas Tulovic. You're looking at the rider that is separating himself out from the rest of the Moto 2 European Championship class. Fermin Aldeguer on that number 54 machine. Right now though for Alonso Lopez, a lap to go at this stage of the season. He's keeping his teammate honest. That's all he can really do right now.
Well, the thing is, what Lopez has got to do is he's just got to score the best points he possibly can, because it's okay Aldeguer going off and winning like this, but one mistake from Aldeguer and a victory for Lopez and the title's back on, and that's how Lopez has got to be thinking. He can't be thinking that he's...
Lopez, a podium man in the Moto 3 World Championship a few years ago in Thailand. We know he's got speed. We know he's going to get opportunities to win races throughout this season. He's actually adapted very well to a Moto 2 bike as well. And I think in normal circumstances, you'd look at it and you think he's been a fantastic first couple of rounds on the bike. But whenever you look at this man, he's redefining what you mean by strong all the way through that weekend. Unlucky during the course of the race, but he's going to be strong all the way through the Moto E season. He's going to be strong all the way through the European Moto 2 Championship. Beat the pole crashing out there, and he was in about 8th position. So if you ride another 25 points, 3 wins out of 3 for Fermin Aldeguer, and in this race he's been able to walk away from the rest of the field. Alonso Lopez takes 20 points in 2nd position, a 3rd consecutive 1-2 for the Boscoscuro team, and a 2nd podium in the season for Aldeguer. Lucas Tulovic comes across the line, picks up 13 points in 4th position, but certainly not what Tulovic would have been looking for in the early stages of this season.